Hello, folks. I'm Bob Kitchen, one of the owners here at Maple Hill Golf, and you're listening to the official podcast of Maple Hill, the Hill Unscripted. Every 2 weeks, I'll bring you the real talk from inside the golf world, insights, stories, and conversations that matter to you as a golfer and a valued part of the Maple Hill family. Without further ado, I'm your host, Bob Kitchen, for the Hill Unscripted. I've got my friend Guerin Rife on today. Am I pronouncing your name right?
It's Guerin, yeah.
Guerin.
Rife.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Guerin Rife, which is a family name you just said. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So, but you're American. Your name sounds like you're like from Europe.
Well, no,
or something.
that's French, and then the middle name's French, and the last name is German. So
Okay, all
but
right.
I'm Scottish, so that's typical American.
Exactly. And the melting pot. I love it.
All right,
So,
we got it all covered.
beautiful, beautiful. We've
Okay.
touched every base. So,
Yeah.
if you don't know anything about Guerin, I think I'm saying that right now. He started his own putter company, Rife Putters. That was what year was that founded?
Well, I kind of the first thing was probably in 1998 when it was Guerin Rife Design. Then I changed it to Rife Putters
Right.
in 2002 or 2000 in year 2000, and then did the two-bar putter right after
Yep.
that. So that was
Right.
kind of one of. Before that, in the first few years, I did the groove technology. That was really the beginning in 99 and 98. That's when I got the patent on all that stuff. So
Gotcha. And then you did you eventually sell that company, or how did that
we sold it.
transform? And you sold that
we
brand?
sold it to a group in Seattle that just had some investors, and so it got moved along, and then after that we took it until 2008, and then what happened in 2008? It was kind of a big crash, and
Everything hit the fan. Yep.
Yeah, people weren't buying golf clubs, and so we just we were in about 3,000 stores at the time,
Yep.
around the country, and had doing infomercials, which
Yeah. Yeah.
thing of the past. But
Right.
yeah, but we were basically spending $100,000 a month, and back then that was a lot for TV time, and trying to get people at 2 a.m. to make make a buying decision.
Right.
We'd have returns the next morning, but
Of course. Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that, but
Yeah, exactly. I was barely awake. Exactly.
you suckered me on that one. So
was that the 2-bar putter or something else?
that was that was the 2-bar, the Rife, stuff.
2-bar had tour success with it, didn't it?
Oh, it was the number one putter on the Champions Tour by far, almost half the Champions Tour.
Was playing that one model. Yeah, there was different head shapes.
Well,
Obviously, they all had their team.
there were
Two-bar.
different models. I varied the line and came up with more stuff, but basically it was a mallet and kind of a blade front with the 2 bars sticking out the back, and
Yep.
it just got it just caught on. I mean, it was we'll talk about it later when we talk about putters and what goes into them, but it had the right combination of technology and benefits that made it kind of a full package.
Do you remember the price of that putter on the infomercial? What was it? What did it sell for?
It was $199.
$199. Okay. Was that it? Was that where it landed at retail too? That was a long time ago. I was in like college.
Yeah, it was retail was exactly, it was $199.
$199. Okay. And obviously had great success with that. And then the Rife brand still exists to this day, I believe, doesn't it?
I think so.
I think it's somebody owns it or the rights to it.
They make flip-flops and all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Right.
They just got my last name, and they continue to they do clothes, they do all sorts of things. So with it.
And then what year did you start Evenroll? And obviously that was kind of a whole different ball game, right? Like it was a whole new technology.
Evenroll was something that evolved out of the technology, but at first, right after we sold Rife in probably 2012, I did Guerin putters because I couldn't use my last
name. Yeah, that was sold. Yep.
So I did Guerin putters, and those I put wavy grooves on them. First wavy grooves, but they were just same width all the way across. And I did that because in all my robot, give you a tour with my computer. We'll go look at a couple things.
Yep.
I had a robot that I was testing many times, and I found that with the wavy grooves, the balls didn't have that little awkward occasional deflection, which turned out to be the dimples.
The dimple on the ball, right, right, right. The
Yeah.
ball's not perfectly round. It's got dimples.
Well, if you roll a ball just really like, you know, see how it settles?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It has to.
And you know, Bryson's right. I mean, it's, you know, I know he's considered kind of a, you know, out there, but he's
Right,
actually right.
right,
I mean, if you hit a dimple, it's basically that depression doesn't touch the club, so you just have the corners or of the outer circle.
hmm
And dimples will vary, and on smaller putts, it will cause a little deflection. I could actually set the ball up on my robot and make it go one way or the other, slightly.
Really?
Yeah. So it was
Wow.
so. But anyway, but it was just taking grooves and not infringing on the people that bought the company. But in 2015, that's when I took the groove technology and took it to a different level where I made them progressively, like, you know, the contact was less in the middle and
Right.
greater away from the middle,
Yes.
and that replaced the energy lost on off center hits, and so everything was the
Exactly.
same distance. So
More
being an
consistent.
advertising guy, I called it Evenroll and came up with the E with the brace and the three bars.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
That. Yep, yep. Which you
Yeah.
just sent me this
I
really
was I
cool
was a Lear
autograph.
Burnett. I was in advertising in Chicago, so I was a designer, had a design company, and then I was an art director and writer. But I'm more of a consumer. You know, I like to tell a story, and it's,
Right,
you know,
right.
the way the business works. But
Yeah, there's a little marketing behind everything.
yeah,
Absolutely. So before we even started the podcast, we were talking for just a quick minute that you grew up loving golf in the Keys, and your dad had Bob Toski and Judy Rankin both working for him. Your dad was a +5. So I was going to ask
they
what
weren't
age
working for him. He was the
or
club
You said
based out of
Toski
Reef, right?
Toski, he hired Toski, you said.
He hired Toski, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
years
it's
ago,
just incredible.
and
Yeah.
that guy was amazing. He was just an
Right.
amazingly talented set of
How
hands.
old were you at this time? Like what age did you fall in love with the sport of golf?
Probably 10,
Okay. So you're
10
like
years old.
late elementary, maybe early middle school or something.
Yeah, yeah. And it was just go, you know, I had the range and I'd go over and Toski would be teaching and he would come over
Mm-hmm.
and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
work with me a little bit on occasion. I mean, I wasn't a serious golfer. I was just a kid having fun. And I used to have two golf balls. I'd play against myself, you know, 'cause growing up
Right.
in a place like that.
Right. Right. 9-hole track. Yeah.
Right.
When did you get a knack for or a love for like the actual
Well,
design and all that? Like how did that
sure,
evolve?
sure. Well, part of this, I'm going to be really frank with you. I did a project for David Ledbetter called the Ledbetter Putting System,
Yep.
and with David, I got to go out, and at that time he was, you know, Nick Price and Faldo, and a lot of those guys were under his wing in terms of as a
Yep.
teacher.
Yep.
And so, you know, we go out on a tour event and just kind of get to talk with the guys. We were developing the putting trainer. Those were the days of like the zebra was the
Yeah.
most
Yeah. Ram
popular
zebra.
mallet,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And so anyway, in the business, in the putting thing, I can't, and I know this is really shallow, but this is kind of where things happen a lot. But I wanted to do a putter that you could pick the ball up with.
Yeah. That's all right. That's pretty simple,
That's
but
pretty
yeah.
deep, right? That's pretty deep, right?
Yeah, well,
So,
most people like to
so
have
I
a ball
took,
that
and
a putter they
this
can
is
just scoop.
actually the putter. This is, I have
Oh,
it. This is the
wow.
original cavity mallet.
Okay, gotcha.
And so let me see here. So I made this out of zinc, and you could scoop the ball up.
Right,
But what it did, it put weight on the bottom and the heel and toe.
right, right,
So that created lift, and so I could get the loft off the face and reduce it down. So when I did that, I put grooves on it. These were just the original ones were just to grip it. They had to be close together at slow speed. Putting's about 4 miles an hour. So when you
right.
hit the ball, it would grip it and hit it. And so this was back in 90 and 92. It was the mallet, and then the grooves got added in 95. And so this was the original cavity mallet. and did a patent on it.
Wow. Did that make it to production? Did you actually build them and sell them?
Not these. I made these all by hand with sand casting and zinc and everything else.
Oh my goodness.
Bloody fingers from the sandpaper.
Right.
The hardship story,
Where'd you sell it at? Who was retailing it for you? Or were you selling it yourself?
No, I was just made a few and sold a few. And, it's the golf business. There's no book on how to do this.
Right.
And when you're an inventor, you have to accept the fact that you're going to fail a lot.
Yeah, correct.
And the only way to get better is to run out of things to get wrong.
Yes. Eliminate the problems and mistakes.
Yeah. So now
absolutely.
I'm hitting every target right on the money these days. So
right.
But anyway, no, that was kind of the early time, and I got into it. And the grooves came about because I wanted to create that lift with less loft, so the ball would come off the face. And so I did 2 patents on that. And first it was kind of a sawtooth shape. Then it got to just be even. Then Spalding licensed it. And that's when, I got to know Lee Trevino back in the day. We were doing a line he was with Spalding. And so that became kind of my evolution through the 90s. And so it was the cavity mallet and the grooves came out of the 90s. So eventually when Callaway bought Spalding.
Yep, I remember that.
Everything. Yep. Well, they gave me back my technology because
They
they
just
didn't
wanted
keep paying the royalty to me,
right?
The monthly royalty.
Exactly.
So anyway, I took it, started my own little thing, did Guerin design putters, and I did a 2 blades and 2 mallets, and took them out on tour. And at that time, nobody had seen closely spaced grooves on putters, and it was like, this guy's a kook. It's just,
that's almost
did you see that guy with the grooves on his putters? What a kook!
Right. The guy who invented the car and the light bulb and the telephone. They probably
there were a bunch of kooks. Right. Anyway, so back then it was something that I didn't register for a while, but guys were saying because right about then is when the Odyssey polymer stuff was going into putters.
Yeah,
there was polymer in the face. The ball came off nice and hot, so all the tour players got used to that new speed.
Yes.
And grooves took away contact surface, so the ball came off slower. And
gotcha.
So they were leaving it about a foot short on a 20-foot putt. And of course, my answer back then was just hit it harder, but that's kind of not what they wanted to hear.
Right.
Stuart Sink was my first guy that put one in play at Disney.
Okay.
Down at in Orlando. That's where I was from, Winter Park. So Stuart first one to put it in play. It was a blade, and then I just kind of hung out there and got a few more guys to try stuff, and then eventually when I was working for a real estate company, using my design skills as kind of as a creative person while doing the putter thing, a group got together and we started Rife. They liked I had a little notch in the top that you could see the sight line and set it up, and grooves on the base. And so we launched the Rife putters, and I had done the 2-bar putter, and gotten Grant Waite to help. He was using it for a while. And so that was the beginning of Rife, of the Rife line. And the 2-bar putter, I'll be honest, I kind of wanted it to sound like the 2-ball.
Right. That was the hottest thing at the time.
Which was just a rocket success.
Yeah, correct.
Bigger than anything.
Dominated, yes.
Dominated, and really, a great thing. Dave Pell's sold the rights to the 2-ball thing, or his was 3-ball, but
3-ball, exactly right. Yep.
It was 2-ball, but he sold the rights to that for Callaway and $350,000 or something like that, which
they did all right.
Just slightly, that was a good deal.
Yeah,
but, So I had my 2-bar, and they had the 2-ball. And I loved it when people got confused, called mine. But so the reason I did the 2 bars, and this goes to the foundation of putter design.
Right.
This answers one of your questions in your thing. Are we doing the podcast right now, by the way?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Everything's being recorded, my friend.
Okay.
Absolutely everything.
Right. I don't want to do this. I want to say this over again.
No. We're
Yep.
rolling. Everything's being
If you look
recorded.
at one of the things people don't realize is that putters are not just one thing like alignment or mallet, blade, or whatever. It's a number of things. So Odyssey had the polymer, the sternometer insert.
Yeah, astronomic insert. Yep.
Yeah, which usually would melt and fall out in Florida if you left it in your trunk.
Right.
So they got that figured out.
Correct. Yep.
Anyway, so they had polymer in the face, which was very light. So as a result, you could push weight back and out away from the face, increasing the stability and the MOI.
MOI. Yes,
Right?
exactly. Yep.
And so if you look at the original Pell's 3 ball had a weight under the third ball. The third ball in the back was solid steel ball cover on it. And so the front was plastic and or whatever he made it out of. So it was just super stable. The USGA gave him a hard time about that, and he finally got it through. There was a dimension thing and a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, Odyssey came out with the 2-ball putter, but they never mentioned the fact that they had a solid weight under the back ball and they had polymer in the face creating the stability. And those were really important features, but they didn't talk about it because it's marketing, it's a story, and the 2 balls are very visible on TV.
Yes.
So it ticked all the boxes. It ticked the box of visibility on tour, of being stable, being very great for an alignment aid. It was just a home run all the way.
Yep, they nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I wanted to steal some of that from them,
Right.
like most people do in this business. So I came up with something different. It was called the 2-bar putter, and it had 2 steel rods behind the hitting area.
Yep.
And so the back of those bars had an adjustable weight that you could
Remember
change,
that.
right?
Allen wrench, yeah.
And then I had an aluminum body. And so aluminum is 3 times lighter than steel. And it was just like a blade front. So it didn't weigh much. Put a steel weight in the heel and toe, and then had the 2 bars in the middle. Those 2 bars drove the inertia, but they moved the weight back and out in the perimeter. And it created a very stable thing. But in this case, the 2 bars not only were for weight and inertia and MOI, they were alignment.
Yep.
And they were built into the name.
Yeah, exactly. Like the 2-ball.
And so then I put grooves on the face. So I had my technology on the face running all the way across. So it ticked all the boxes.
Yep.
So we went on to sell about 700,000 of them. So
is that what you did? That's incredible. So for our listeners too, so they understand, when putters came out 100 years ago, when golf just was getting rolling, there was like the bullseye style putter, right? Just a blade style that didn't have much technology.
Well, the bullseye was 1940, and that was actually the first no torque.
Oh yeah. Which we'll get into that.
The first early when he had the shaft right in the middle.
Yeah, and it was symmetrical, right?
You could spin it like a prop. So it was. There's your no torque story.
Exactly, Mr. Solheim comes along. He says heel toe weight him, ping answer style putter. So even this is so all of our listeners are on the same page and understand MOI and the jargon we're talking. You're trying to still move weight off the face, both heel and toe and back from the face. That's why inserts work. That's why you guys mill steel out of the face of it. That's why a lot of them use heavy weights on the heel and the toe, like your ER 11.2 and the new ER 10. We'll get into that as we go through the new putter line. But you're trying to move weight off the face and to the outside of the head to keep it stable and keep it stable in both directions, right? Both axes, the X axis and the Y axis, or however you want to word it. I'm making it real simple for our followers, but
it's just perimeter, moving weight away from the center to create more polar moment.
Yes,
moment,
exactly. So it keeps the face square and stable through impact, and that's what makes you actually
it enlarges the area of forgiveness on the face.
Exactly right. And then
you take weight out of the middle, you can scoop the ball up.
Yes, exactly. So how did you end up? So those didn't have your old 2-bar didn't have the thinned out face in the middle though, right? Where it was the Evenroll technology.
Well,
it was just grooves.
It had the Evenroll grooves running all the way across. It had a front piece on it. It had the back part where you had to screw the weights in. Because the bars had to screw in, and then it had a cavity, and then the toe went up, so it had more mass to put the other 2 weights on the heel and toe. So it was structurally very, very stable, and like I said, ticked the boxes. But
yeah.
But it still had the grooves. And so it was the groove technology.
It had the same or a similar groove technology to even what the original Evenroll putters had, the sweet face with
No, it had straight grooves.
just straight grooves. That's what I thought. So
Yeah,
Evenroll,
that was my invention, straight grooves years
exactly
ago.
right. So Evenroll comes along though, and that's when you actually did the different thicknesses of faces, I believe.
Yes, because there was a time in which people were starting. It was a trend starting up. I pay attention to every little trend. I know what's going on because I'm in the business. I
Right.
live it every day.
Right.
And so distance control was starting to be kind of an interesting area. There's certain parts about putters. There's distance control. There's feel. There's alignment. There's stability. There's all these little
Right.
things that you have to think about when you do a putter. And how it sets up, the length, the shaft, the line, the swing weight, all that stuff goes into it. But getting the distance right on off center hits, which is what most people do,
Right. Right.
you rarely hit the sweet spot in the middle of the putter.
Right.
So that became kind of a talking point, and I've always been about roll. That's been my kind of my gig since the early days. I invented grooves, but that was to get the ball to come off the face and not skip and skid. So I knew about that, but I also remember when I told you that it was softer.
Yes.
And the tour players weren't getting it to the hole. So I knew that if I increased the spacing between the grooves, that created more mass.
Right.
And that made the ball go further. But if the putter's getting weaker off center, then you just increase the energy transfer away progressively away from the middle. That's why it's parabolic, right?
Exactly.
As the grooves get narrower, the land gets greater.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. Yep. Yep. And if anybody hasn't seen an Evenroll putter, it's pretty obvious if you actually look at it, especially if you catch it in the light. It's thinner in the middle, thicker on the outside. So the idea is what you're saying is on a 20-foot putt, if you miss it by a quarter of an inch, the ball will finish closer to the hole.
If you miss it a quarter of an inch up to a half inch off center.
Yep.
So on a 20-foot putt, you're talking from this robot stuff, but actually the Quintec will show you impact ratio because that's a camera based. But it'll show you that the ball gets a little bit of side spin and goes offline, and it's not hit hard enough, so it goes shorter. It can be 4 to 6 inches, half inch off the center, and 3 to 4 inches offline.
Right.
Well, that's a missed putt.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't care what it's made of. If you do that, it's not going in.
Correct. But the whole
unless you misread it to start with, and the mishit was the correct.
Exactly. Then it went in.
Isn't this game fun? Yeah. So,
yeah. Exactly.
It's nobody's fault. But anyway.
Yeah.
So that became the challenge, was to make the ball go the same distance on off center hits.
Right.
And I mean, I had a couple of magnets, and I had a quarter-inch area where you could hit the ball in the center of the face, and I had these magnets on each side, and it allowed for a quarter-inch of variance. And I tested tour players. I had to stop doing it because it was freaking them out. Tour players, 3 out of 10 was the record to hit that sweet spot. Tour players.
Wow. On a quarter-inch.
It's not easy. Tiger's drill where he puts the 2 T's in the ground, and that's what that's all about, is trying to consistently hit the center of the putter.
Wow. But 3 out of 10 is what the tour average was.
That was the best.
The best. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. Wow.
No, it's to hit that quarter inch in the center.
People will be curious to hear that. So what is the kind of average? Like a half an inch or 3/4 inch, or what is it?
I'd say it's about a third of an inch for tour players, and about a half inch to an inch for amateurs. So half inch either side.
Right. Which is,
I'm talking quarter inch would be 1/8 of an inch either side. That's tight.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yep.
So a third and then a half inch is a quarter inch either side, right?
Yep.
But pretty much people hit it all over the face.
Correct. Even their putter.
And the other thing that happened in the robot testing was when I first developed the parabolic grooves, I got, they're like this, right? So if I take a ball and I put it here with the open spot, it goes that way. It goes toward the open spot.
Right.
So that was happening. My first grooves were really radical. I overdid it. That's what you do when you develop a new technology. You don't know exactly where the sweet spot is.
Yep.
So on the robot, the balls were crossing because this was redirecting the ball inward.
Yes, right would go left and left would go right.
Because this these angles were hitting the ball, so there was no space in the middle, so that would influence it toward the center. So they were crossing a little bit at 20 feet. So I backed it off until they got to about, a normal little kind of parabolic that, like on the Evenroll, on the Sweet Face 1.
Right.
And so that created that tracking, but all the butters went the same direction, no deflection, and they went the same distance because of the contact surface getting progressively greater off center.
Yeah, very cool.
Golf, this is not a perfect world. Dimples are different. The grass is different. Your grain's different. You're on a hill, downhill. People don't have their putters set up correctly. They have
angles off.
They're de-lofted, or they've got too much loft, and there's all those variables as well. That's why in our studio we dial all that stuff in.
Right, when you're actually fitting someone. Yeah,
sure. And if you want, I can grab my computer and show you the studio and go out back and look at the assembly.
Well, yeah, I do actually want to do that. What I think is so good about Evenroll and what you're talking about with the Sweet Face technology and the parabolic and all that, the goal, of course, is to make more putts, but the goal isn't always, when you got a 30, 40 footer, like what's a pro, like 3, 4, 5, 7%? I mean,
that's just luck.
It's just luck, right? So the goal isn't, and the average consumer doesn't really understand this, and I think you do because you've been golfing a long time and you've been at this your whole life, same as me. Like you love golf, you grew up loving golf, same as me. I'm third generation owner of Maple Hill, and I just love golf. I always have. So the goal isn't always just to make the first putt. The goal is to make the second putt and not have a third putt. So what you're talking about is with the Evenroll in particular, and the Sweet Face technology, and we'll get into Sweet Face 2.0 here in a little bit. I got your new ones right here in this bag. But is to have the ball finish close to the hole so you have a much shorter second putt so that you can eliminate those strokes off there. And when you're talking about the tour players and Stuart Sink and all these different big names that have used your putters, and Evenroll, of course, has got plenty of tour usage over the years, but those strokes mean so much dollars to them. When I was talking to Odyssey years ago, and they were saying how much, if they could change their putting by like 0.6 strokes per round, like about a half a stroke a round, it meant something like 1 point something million a year, or more than that even. It was astounding how much money it was.
You can look this up on your iPhone at PGAtour.com and look at the stats. And, so they've got it all complicated now, but it used to be the guy in 125th place kept his cart.
Mm-hmm.
And so that person compared to the person in 25th place, 100 places.
Right.
This guy's playing in a FedEx Cup. The difference is $6 million.
It's a lot.
And the stroke average per round difference in 100 places on PGA Tour, 1.
1 stroke difference?
Yeah. That's how good these guys are. So if they can get, putting is 40% of your score. So if they can get they can get a half a stroke, they move 50 places and using the numbers, and a couple $1 million and maybe a tour win and change their life. It's just they know how important it is. It's just really critical.
That's incredible. So that's absolutely incredible. That's incredible statistics for people to actually hear that and understand the difference between playing in the FedEx Cup and maybe not even having your card is 1 stroke different and $6 million different, which is
that's per round, by the way, per round. Right.
Yeah.
It's really, it's a powerful thing when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've touched on design philosophy and core technology. I want to move into the Sweet Face 2.0 and what prompted the evolution of that. Like, how was you guys found a way to make it even better? Is that what happened?
Well, remember I told you back when I had my Guerin putters?
Yep.
Okay. I had the wavy grooves.
Yep.
I'd put waves. So when I did actually one of the first things I did was the wavy grooves. I took those and did the progressive contact surface on them early on before I did the 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that first, but it was being done with a single end mill. And so it was 23 passes that went up and down. And I was going, boy, I'll never be able to produce these and make and charge a price that's not going to be, and breaking tools and all the problems in production. So I came up with the original Sweet Face, the parabolic, which is great. It works. It's fine. It's lovely and won lots of awards. But it was a simple tool that would just spin, and it would go across the face like this, right? And so it would just go there, go up, over and go up, go down, two passes with an end mill. Production is very important. You got to figure things out when you do stuff. You can't just come
Absolutely.
up with smoke and mirrors and spend all day making something and try to charge, an amount of money that people can afford.
Right.
You got to be efficient in production. And so that was the way we did that. And you got to give things a chance to live. It was a breakthrough. The Evenroll grooves were a breakthrough. The progressive contact surface. So I said, well, let's just try the old original wavy grooves with this.
Yeah.
Now we're combining, and these are each patented, by the way. They're all fully.
Right.
So by putting the wavy grooves, I was getting rid of the dimple effect.
Yep.
And by making them progressive, I was getting the speed.
Gotcha.
And then we made them a little shallower to make the ball come off a little hotter. And then I thickened the face behind the hitting area to make it feel softer, because that steel loves to be, you hit it on a solid background, it's softer. So it's faster, softer, faster, straighter.
Right.
That's our three things. And then we say sweeter, but
Right.
but it's marketing too. Of course, you got to be,
Of course.
you got to have your marketing story, but the refreshing part is that it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's nice when it's both. Yeah, not just marketing.
Yeah, it's not just a story, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Before we go even any further into any of that, I think the new putters just flat out look like jewelry. I think you guys nailed the finish.
Thank
I think
you.
the putters look better than ever before. Your putters have always looked sharp, and they always look like a high-end milled putter. You're right there with Cameron and Bettinardi, and I don't know even know who you guys consider all your biggest competitors, but I'd say those two
Well,
are
we just have two,
those two.
just those two,
Yeah,
Cameron and Bettinardi.
yeah. You
And
don't
I
really
think,
consider Odyssey.
Odyssey those are all cast putters. Those are all those things are, that's a different price point. I mean, they can charge a lot for them, but
Right.
they're usually cast. They're made in China.
Right.
They'll either skin mill them on the top surfaces and then buff the bottoms, and they do an impeccably beautiful job of production. That's what they do. They've got a whole team living in China getting it right.
Right.
They got their own factory, and they do such a significant volume that they get incredible amount of detail put into their work.
Right.
But they order enough to get that detail, and
Yeah, exactly.
you have to be doing some serious numbers. But these, this is the
new 5.
Yeah, the new 5.
Yeah.
And I took the center
Super
out
pretty.
of it.
Yeah.
And then we have the weights, so I can make one head and change the weights for swing weight. Then the wavy grooves on the face.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You can see them. And so they're wider here, and they're wavy and out here. So when you hit this ball, the dimples don't have a place to ricochet off of. And
man, that makes a lot of sense. I hope everybody watching this or listening to this podcast understands it.
Well, it's a random surface hitting a random surface.
Yeah, exactly.
They just cancel each other out. There's no direct influence that can happen because one surface is flat and the other surface is not.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And you basically touched on like all the things that it does, which is the next question I had. It actually reduces skid. It reduces directional.
Well, if you properly
misalignment.
set up the loft, it's going to grip the ball and lift it, because at 4 miles an hour, you have to really grip the ball. And unless the grooves are closely spaced with that little sharp piece in the land area, 4 miles an hour you're not accomplishing anything. I mean, but that's why when you progressively increase the land, the speed is a little better. But if you make them shallower, that also makes them faster. So, I'm just taking all the things that I've learned and
that's incredible.
piling them into this new line. And so this one doesn't have another thing I want to show you. This one doesn't have a hosel.
Right.
Hosels aren't better. This is the best thing you can do, because all the weight's in the head.
Right.
And so there's a little hole right there the shaft goes into.
Right.
And so this part of the shaft where it bends and goes this way, that weighs about 5 grams. That hole that we cut in there is 5 grams. So the sweet spot on this putter is exactly in the center. And we can also, and this is really important, we can also just flip it around and make it a left-handed putter. Well, and left-handed people are the noisiest people in golf.
My brother's a lefty. My grandpa was a lefty. Yeah.
I come up to him and say, I got it left hand. They want to hug you. I mean,
right. We made lefties. Yeah.
Yeah. When lefties are happy, the world's a better place.
I think all 4 models are left-handed this year. Isn't that
Yes, they're all symmetrical.
Yeah. So you're doing all four of them in righty and
But
lefty.
making a putter head symmetrical, let's take the two, for example. It's an illusion because it's not, you normally can't do that and make it look balanced.
Right.
So this is exactly the same as this. And so you flip the shaft around, put it right here, and it still looks the same.
Right.
And so if you you'll see a mallet, for example, on some like small mallets, you can't do that. This is just the original thing, but see how this is smaller,
Yeah.
a knotless shape? Because when you stand over it and look down, the toe is going to look small if it's symmetrical. But if
Right.
you enlarge it, it looks balanced. Well, so it's a challenge to make it look balanced and elegant and be versatile at the same time. Putting all the weight in the head and not in the hosel. Hosels are for to make it easy for production. That's all it
Right.
is.
Right. Exactly.
Stick a straight shaft in there, go.
Yep. Yep. Go. Exactly right. There's certain people that just want a little plumber's neck or mid slant or something like that. But I fight that same battle all the time when I'm talking to customers. I know what you mean.
Well, that's one of the Karsten's brilliant little things that he put that plumber neck on his ping answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that just said, okay, all I got to do is just plug a straight shaft in it and I have to bend it. This
Yep.
has to be bent and has to be dialed in, and we have to twist it. We put it on a green gauge and we dial each one of them in and get the loft exactly right. And it's a lot of work
Right. 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 To make it precision
to
and
make it precision, to make it perfect. So
consistent.
the consumer doesn't really need to know that. We don't want to get into the weeds with everybody, but I mean, thanks for having me on because I love to talk about this, obviously. But people need to understand, and sometimes, they don't have the time to get to know about all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it is over the head for a lot of people, but kind of the origin and your origin and just the kind of background of where you came from and like how this evolved. I think that this podcast will be fantastic and they're going to enjoy it. The question I want to ask you about going back to Sweet Face 2.0 is how long did you work on that before it actually came to the origin line? And like, is this like a 1 year thing and over a year thing? Like, how long does it, I know to get a putters made takes a little while and get the molds and all that. Like, how long
Well,
have you been working on this?
if I were just like, if you said today, let's go do a putter,
Yep.
all right, and if I had to come up with the technology, I'd have to test it.
Mm.
And then I'd have to figure out all the little nuances of how deep and how wide and how, you go through that process. Those can take years, but I already knew about the wavy grooves because I already invented them and patented them.
Right.
I knew about the progression of the land area because
Right.
of the main line.
Yep.
And so my machine shop's the same guy I've been using for 25 years. Origin Golf is the name of it, by the way.
Perfect.
He would
Makes
say, "You
sense.
stealing my name?" I said, "Yeah."
Right. Right.
Right?
Sure am.
But Origin goes back to our original launch in 2016 and get into that.
Yep.
But the bottom line is that I already knew the results. I knew what the CAD needed to be. I didn't have to do R&D so much. I knew that the depth at 10,000 deep, I could go to 5,000 deep and put 3 to 4% more speed on the ball. And I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I told you I ran out of mistakes.
Right. Exactly.
There's no
Exactly.
more mistakes. I get everything right now. But
Right. 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 Took a while.
but that comes with a lot of pain
Exactly.
and
Exactly. For
time.
everyone. Yep.
And so for me, the window of development is a lot shorter.
Gotcha.
I don't go through all that stuff. And also because we're a putter company and we're actually a little company, but I can take a right when everybody else has to take a left.
Correct. Correct. You guys
I
don't.
can do something in 3 months and they take a year because
Right.
they may have to buy advertising and they may have to do
Yeah.
product development and commercials and all this kind of stuff and tour development. But I'm more of a gunslinger, or as my friend Tim Reed at Callaway said, I'm a maverick.
Right. Right. He used that name too, so that's good.
Yeah, that's just there's advantages and then there's disadvantages.
Hmm.
Your story doesn't get heard, or the tour players, are getting paid by the big guys in a way that, or if they start using an Evenroll, the big guys will come up and go, "Hey, you're looking for a new putter. How about we pay you and you try this one?
Right.
And
Right.
we'll make it just like the one you're trying."
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's vicious. It is tough.
It is. I had one of your other main guys we talked about earlier, Mr. Bob Bettinardi, on here, and he wouldn't really give out names or exact specifics, obviously just being a gentleman about everything, same as what you're doing. And he was explaining that exact same story that he faces because I don't know, between you and him, I'm pretty sure you guys are probably pretty close, would be my guess. I don't know. We
Yeah,
still had talk about both of them.
he calls me all the time, and
He's
I
a
call
great
him.
guy. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I figured you guys would get along because you guys are actually pretty similar. You're old school gentlemen and you're just nice guys, but it's tough, right? I mean, it's tough when Callaway and Titleist have basically unlimited money, and TaylorMade for that matter, like those big three in particular. Ping is a little more tight, right? Everybody knows that, but those big
Well,
three
they're
have
not
so
here to
much
make you
money.
successful. It's basically kind of a gentle war. And
Right, right, right.
and I mean, I have over 100 tour wins with tour players winning with my product, worldwide. So I've
Yeah,
I've made my mark, and I don't go on tour very much. I'm kind of the guys I knew are on the Champions Tour, but
right,
so
right,
all the new breed is out there. I've become friends with a few guys, the young guys, but basically I'm just this old dude.
right.
But guys like Justin Rose and they come up and say hello, and most of those guys are pretty classy.
Yeah, yeah,
They were
agreed.
brought up well. Golf teaches people to be honest, and they grew up in a world where they respected the rules, and
Right,
they're good people. So I really am very fond of a lot of those fellows, but it's a different world out there. It's very competitive, and it's very just it's business. And
right, right. It's business. Yeah,
I mean, like you talk about lab. I mean, like Sam Hahn was out there for 6 years peddling that thing with a revealer and getting no love, no sales, no revenue, no nothing. Just the family's just spending money.
right, right, right. Like
And that's
crazy.
not a business plan that you can actually execute. But
Right.
but tenacity and their formula of how they presented zero torque paid off big time.
Yeah, yeah. Now
But
they're
it's
now
high
they're doing
risk,
well.
and we all want that to happen. But it just, Cameron is backed by Titleist,
Right,
so pretty much Bettinardi and myself, we're independents.
right,
So but he has a machine shop that only 30% of his machining is putters.
right, right. I've been
The other
there. Yeah,
70% are things that really make money, and they're military or medical or what, I don't know all this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Cat.
But
He
that's
said a little
that
bit on the podcast, but
you
yeah,
know that's you know that's the business. He's got lots of machines, and
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's a
That which
family
is
thing and stuff like that. So
exactly. But you've gotta have a lot more of a leg up or your foot in the door because some of these kids now had to have at least grown up knowing what your brand is or playing it in high school and college because your
I
brand
get
didn't
it all the time.
exist. Yeah, your brand
Yeah.
didn't exist like more. What'd you say? 16? Is that when Evenroll launched?
Well, 2016 on Evenroll, and then Rife was, of course, back into
Right,
98,
way before that. But Evenroll
2000.
is a brand, like this actual logo and getting this thing up and running.
That's 2000, actually 2015
Okay, so
when I first came up with
10,
it.
11 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. So, I mean, for
Right.
a relatively short period of time, Mr. Rife, you've done a pretty good job and you've been pretty
Well,
darn
thank you.
successful, at least in my store for sure. So, I'll give you the background of Maple Hill and Evenroll. I didn't want to sell your stuff. One of my employees, Dub Ogden, who's one of my head fitter, he's now in charge of our fitting studio. We have a fitting studio called the Launch Kitchen. We use TrackMan in there. We also have a Quintec putter fitting system. He's kind of a club nerd. And Dub said, "Oh, we got to bring in this brand to Evenroll. It's the hottest thing going. There's a lot of tour usage, a lot of people picking it up, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "How much is it?" And he's like, "Oh, they're like $350, $400, whatever it was back then." And I was like, "Dude, we don't need any more. We don't need more $350, $400 putters. We don't need that." And he's like, "Oh, you really ought to try it. You really ought to try it. They're really good. They're really good." And I was like, "Nah." And Dub has always just got the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And so eventually he wore me down. I said, "All right, dude, order 12. You personally have to sell all 12 of these and let's see what happens." And he brought them in. There was people like, "Oh, you guys are carrying Evenroll?" I'm like, "You've heard of Evenroll?" They're like, "Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all over the internet and your marketing team or whoever was doing it." So fast forward a year or two, and that 12 moved into 120 or 200 or whatever it was. And
Yeah,
then
good.
eventually I kind of struck gold and I met Matt that works for you. And now we have a great relationship and we do a ton of business with you guys. And now you're one of our, I mean, you're definitely in our top four putter brands, no question. We sell hundreds and hundreds of Cleveland putters, and Wilsons and all the cheaper stuff. But in our major brands, I mean, we sell a ton of Scotty Camerons, we sell a ton of Bettinardi's, we sell a ton of yours, and of course, a boatload of Odyssey because they have every price point under God's green earth
For
covered.
sure. Yep. Yep.
So talking and enough about that. I just want to tell you like how the history of Maple Hill and Evenroll got rolling, and how happy I am that I met Matt, and Matt got to meet you. Of course, this is a highlight, and we're gonna put your autographed head cover right here on the wall of fame here. When this is over, we got one up there right now. We're gonna put another one up there. But the zero torque thing, you talked about that for a minute with Lab and how Sam was trying to peddle that and get that story out there for a while. And it's not like zero torque's a new technology, like you said in the 40s. Bullseye was like that. So do you think zero torque is like here to stay? Do you think it's kind of
for sure,
a fad?
absolutely? It's now entered the vernacular of putter technology, and Odyssey did the backstrike. Remember that?
Yes. I've talked about that before.
That's no torque. They did the toe up putter. Same
yes.
thing.
Yep.
Plot putters back in
yes. It was ugly, but it
no
worked.
torque.
Yeah. Yep.
Bobby Grace back in 2005, he did it to the Amazing Grace, the mallet back here.
Yep.
He did it back then. Edel.
Yeah. Yep. That's a
And
brand.
I think that the main difference is that, that the very clever thing that Pressey did was he came up with that revealer. And then they took a grip with a diagonal hole in it that was actually developed by a guy named Chambers. And it was for a side saddle putter. And so he put that grip on a regular putter so the shaft could go back to the center of mass. Came up with that big monster, and he got it out there, and he just tenacity alone and that revealer was the thing that captured people. It was a way to sell, and it was a very clever, smart way to sell. And so that was the foundation. And now they're off and running. They are just about torque. They're not about anything else. They don't have the place to go.
Exactly.
I dance all over the place, and I go into a lot of different bars. I got the origin stuff, the zero stuff, and groove technology. We have normal putters and hosel putters and everything else. So, I'm just kind of been in the business. It's like Bettinardi's the same way. He's got everything going.
Right.
Cameron's going to start to get into the no torque thing a little bit.
Yeah.
But we have other avenues that we live in,
right,
as we go. To answer your question, it's absolutely going to stay a part of the putter technology offerings, just like two ball and alignment. Like alignment is here to stay.
Right.
Thing. The polymer face, the softer feel off the face, here to stay.
Right.
And then there's just mallets and blades, and then there's grips, and grips are another area that I'm starting to really expand in terms of like the gravity grip and the
right. We saw a ton of those
that moves the shaft away from the arm. There's a lot of little cul-de-sacs that you can go into.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What you're talking about with Lab in particular, they just have kind of one story to sell, and you kind of touch every single base. And that zero for us has done really big, and so has the antidote from Bettinardi. That's been really big for us too. And yeah, I do think that it's here to stay, but like tour usage is still not super high because some of them they're trying to fight the tendency, and zero torque doesn't really fight any tendency. If you flip the toe, or if you come in with the heel open or something like that, zero torque doesn't correct anything. It doesn't.
Our zeros, I put 85 grams in the heel and 85 grams in the toe.
Right.
That's a lot of weight.
Right.
That's half the putter's weight in two little weights here and here.
Right.
If you take these other putters, you take all the weights out of them, and I won't say any names, but you weigh them on a gram scale. They're about 65 to 70 grams total.
Right.
You've One weight in our heel and toe is 85.
Right. So you got 170 grams.
Tungsten. Yeah.
Right.
It's really, you can feel it.
Oh yeah.
And all the mass is in the front to make it sound good, and then you just hollow out the back. But it's super stable, and it moves the shaft forward. And then I just, by the way, I got the patent yesterday on the reverse nozzle.
Yes.
So I now have a patent on that as of yesterday. So
nice.
Yep. pretty excited about that.
Moving away from that, I would ask you a personal question. I want to ask you a few fun kind of questions, and then I wanted you to take your computer and walk down the hall and show us some things. But that
Okay.
your personal favorite putter you've ever designed is what?
It's got to be the 2 bar.
Yes, still.
Yeah, I mean, I have people come up to me all the time and show me their 2 bar putter. They scour eBay trying to find them.
Right.
It's just got a little classic quality to it
Yeah.
that it ticked all the boxes, and it was a winner for sure.
And that technology, you can't put it on Evenroll, or is it possible at some point in time we
I
might see something,
can.
a collaboration between your two
Well,
brands?
the people that bought the Rife brand have the 2 bar.
Own that.
Yeah, but it's more of a I don't I mean I could legally probably do it,
Right. Right.
but it's could do some sort of inaugural thing. I mean, I get bugged all the time by Matt and Greg
Right.
about doing that, but it's just something I'm not prepared to go down that avenue yet.
Okay. All right. Well, if your fans so desire it, my friend, it might be something you might be forced into doing.
Yes, and I don't mind being held down and forced, but
Love that. This is a question I asked Mr. Bettinardi too, and how much room remains for putter technology to advance? He basically kind of said like the sky's the limit. Like there's just basically endless as far as different materials or different whatever. And do you agree with that, or what's your kind of take
sure,
on that?
sure.
Yeah.
There's going to be I mean there's plenty out there, and it's not just it's how you blend the technologies
Mm-hmm.
and what the shaft material will be like, and what the head material would be like, and what the cost of that particular metal or a new technology like, for example, MIM on our weights. I couldn't do those weights 10 years ago
Right.
because the MIM process of combining tungsten and steel was crude and it didn't. So that's developed into a very beautiful, shiny production quality product.
Right. Right.
And then, who knows? I think the carbon fiber area for putters that are not being done. There's a ball technology that's going to affect the putter treats the ball. I got to say the same thing. I mean, I've never stopped. I've got 5 more things to do right now.
Right.
I've got a
Right.
folder
Love it.
this thick full of stuff
Love it.
because that's my world. I live in it. And people go, well, how can putters be complicated? I said, tell you what, you come in and get a fitting, and
Mhm.
after about an hour and a half, if you don't have a headache and you haven't
Right.
been through 40 different things we have 6,000 combinations of putters in our studio.
Right.
And it's hosels, grips, length, swing weight, head designs, mallet, blade, lie angle, loft, launch, all these different things go into it. And so there will be an answer for every challenge, and we'll all approach it slightly differently,
Yeah.
try to put our name on it. But I agree with Bobby. I think it's sky's the limit. You can continue to do it. You're only limited by your own imagination.
Yeah, 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 completely agreed. Well, that's good to hear. That's
Yeah.
refreshing to hear because I think, yeah, 3D printing. I know Cobra's messing around with that a little bit. And there's, like you said, carbon
It's
fiber and all
that's just a term, but it's not a production solution. It's a prototyping,
that. Right,
and
exactly.
it's a lattice work on the inside that you don't have to look at.
Correct.
But when you look at something that's machined and all this, that you don't 3D print.
Right,
The
right,
technology is not even close to being there. I
exactly.
mean, if you have a week to build one,
Yep.
but you can't make money doing that.
Correct. Yeah.
There's medical technology that they do for finite stuff, but it's very, very difficult and time consuming.
Yeah.
And the equipment is $1 zillion.
Right, exactly right. That's why it's in the medical field. I got some quick fun questions for you. Then I'd
Okay.
love for you to take the computer and walk down the hall and show us some stuff. So, moving away from everything we've talked about, your favorite golf course in the United States?
Oh, I'd say Cyprus.
Yeah, never played it. I
Oh,
played I played the beach right down the street, but I've never played Cypress.
Cyprus is just one of those things where I think that's the saddest I've ever been in golf. Is walking up the 18th hole.
Right? Because it's over.
It's over. But it's just a stunning, I mean, it's just got so much history, but it's also 6 holes in the woods, 6 holes in the dunes, 6 holes on the water.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a place where you just know God doesn't make this anymore.
Hmm.
This is really something special.
Yep, yep.
Now, I haven't been over to, I've been to Ireland and I've played, probably my favorite course in Ireland would be Royal Portrush.
Yeah, Portrush. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, it's just stunning.
Yep. I'm going over to the home of golf next August, I think it is.
Yeah, I haven't
I'm gonna
been there. I haven't been to St. Andrews.
going to St. Andrews, Edinburgh. We got an employee that used to work at St. Andrews, and he says it's not Edinburgh. Don't sound all American. It's Edinburgh. So I'm gonna head over
Yeah.
there with 3 buddies next August, right before my oldest son goes to college. So I'm excited to that. Pebble Beach is
Oh,
my own personal favorite. It's obviously right down the street from Cypress that you're talking about.
Pebble.
Um, yeah, Pebble's unreal too. So what? Here's a question my staff wanted me to ask you. You can answer this or pass. But what's in your bag? What do you what? Talk about your putter first off. What putter do you actually use? And then you can tell about other clubs if you want.
I use the Origin 8.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, which
think
is
just
beautiful by
sits
the way.
that sits like a honey, and it's just wonderful feel, and it's just got a great. It ticks all the boxes for me. I just love that.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
she is. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. And when Matt said, "Oh, we got a beautiful small mallet," I'm like, "Dude, small mallets never sell." And he's like, "No, no, this one's different." I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard that before, dude."
Yeah.
All right, he's in
It
the job of
is. It's
sales, and I'm in the job of selling, and I know what sells, and his job is to try to sell it to me. And
what do
then
you know,
when I saw it, yeah, what do I know, right? I've only sold a few
huh?
million putters in my life, but when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this really truly is different." I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I think they might have absolutely knocked this thing out of the park. So the Origin 8, I completely get it, and especially when I took the head cover off, it's kind of got that wow. Like your other putters are beautiful. And I don't want to take anything from that, but what other clubs do you have in your bag? What driver are you playing? Let's talk about that.
I use a ping
Do you?
driver.
Do you?
I have a pings 5 wood. I have my own hybrids that I did with Telis, my Telis thing, where they're
Oh yeah.
called the Telis. It's a hybrid, and they're very easy to hit, and then there's Mizuno irons because the Mizuno guys became good friends, and
Yep.
so they're free.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah, yeah.
free. I'm probably ready for a new set because I've had them for a while,
Gotcha.
and they're of that metal you can't bend as much. You
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
I need to have a flatter lie. I've recovered
Gotcha.
from some back stuff, so now I can turn, and I just need to elevate a few things,
Gotcha.
but that's about it. Yeah, no, it's nothing. I'm not a hot stick. I'm just an old guy trying to shoot less than 90. Or
Right. Right.
somewhere in the
Breaking
80s.
90. I hear you.
Well, the farms where I'm a member is hard, really hard
Oh,
course. So,
gotcha.
yep.
Your dream foursome, past or present. Like you could say your dad, you could say your grandpa, like people that were influential in your life, or you could say Tiger and Jack or Gary or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, well, I would say any 3 members of the Swedish bikini team would be good.
That's that's probably the best answer I'm ever gonna get on this
No, I mean
podcast
I'm
as
I'm
long as I
there.
live. Yeah.
How
We're
about
not
some
above that.
cocktails?
Exactly.
Let's stop at
That's
the turn.
that's
Yeah.
better than whatever the hell you're about to say, but you can actually say your real
No,
answer now too. But
no, but there are some guys that I've known on tour, and I would say I mean, Ian Baker Finch is one of my favorite people, and he was
okay.
with us with the Rife thing, and then Tommy Fleetwood, I've become recently acquainted with him and love him. He's a great guy.
Awesome.
He would be great. And probably
Crowd loves them.
Justin Rose is one of the most lovely people, and he's
Yeah.
you but so that would be kind of my real foursome.
Love that. All right. That's a unique answer. So Baker, Finch, Fleetwood, and Rose. That's great. And then you guys can customers that are, if anybody's listening to this and they happen to build in your area, can they come and get fit right at your studio? Consumers
Just
can or no?
go to the website, call the number, come see it.
Okay. Right on Evenroll's website?
Book a fitting. We have guys fly in from Chicago, Canada, from different places.
Yeah.
Everybody just goes, wow, that was just so
Oh
special.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, at some point in time, I promised Matt I'll make it out there. I have a house in Palm Springs, so I'm not too terribly far from you. And someday I gotta
Oh, that's great. No,
venture
now's
on
a good
over
time to come for Palm Springs, right?
from the desert. Yeah. The desert's so nice, right? Our weather, like you just said, you're getting Michigan weather before we really got rolling.
Great.
Mr. Rife, I cannot thank you enough for your honesty, your answers, your candidness, your making it fun. Like this has been really a treat for me. And I've been looking forward to this for, I don't know, the last 2, 3 weeks whenever we decided to actually do this. And
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's been a lot of fun for me. So,
good,
you
good.
know, I don't like getting caught up in like, so how did you get into putting? You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you that story. I don't want to live that again.
Right, exactly. Enough of that. But I think we touched on enough of it where people understand kind of where you're coming from and what your history is and like what your
Sure,
ultimate goal was and how the tour influenced you and like, oh, well, they want the ball
sure.
to finish close to the hole and we need to change the thickness of the face across there and all that good stuff. So anyhow, new episodes drop every other week ish. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Mr. Rife, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much on behalf of Maple Hill Golf. Thank you for all you and Evenroll does to help make Maple Hill successful. And thank you personally for helping making this podcast successful. It's been great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Sounds good, my friend. We'll stay in touch and I'll see you before too long. If not next month, maybe we'll see you in March. So
Now
sounds good.
you got to get here. So see you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Be good, brother. We'll see you.
Cheers. Yep.
Cheers. Bye.